prior to that, you wouldn't believe I had a huge stage fright. I just couldn't, I would stammer and sweat and I'll tremble on stage. So at that moment, giving career talks was my first, step into the public speaking platform. I understood that, I was not as open-minded as I always thought. And it was like, they challenged my opinions and my thought process, and I loved it. The man dies and borns every day. So what he means by his perspectives, his ideas, his opinions dies, and with the new experience and learnings, it rebirths.
Shivering on stage to becoming a corporate trainer, finding own career through giving guidance to others as a career counselor, leaving parental home first time and that to go to UK for studies, and accepting challenges and converting them to opportunities. This is one mind-bending journey to becoming a corporate trainer. She is Kritika Kashyap, management psychologist, trainer, speaker, and NLP practitioner. In this episode, we discussed the journey to becoming a corporate trainer, the challenges, how to overcome them, and how to make transition from a job to studies. In this episode, we also discussed vulnerability and how to share failures effortlessly. Listen to this amazing journey from a career counselor to corporate trainer. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the episode. Hello everyone, this is Rakesh, your coach, author, speaker, and career transformation expert. Welcome to my podcast, Let's Talk Clarity. Let's Talk Clarity, in which we discuss about career transformation, productivity, and life fulfillment. Let's start the episode and talk clarity. So, Kritika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. And it is pretty exciting for me to come here on your podcast. And I have been on and off been listening to your podcast. And just to be here and be a part of it, it is quite interesting. And I'm looking forward to how this Let's Talk Clarity conversation goes.
Oh, wow. So, thank you for being on the show. And it's always pleasure to talk to you because we know each other from last 3 years, and we have been doing so many things together. We did one webinar together, and then we were part of Karma Talk also,
Yes.
and we enjoy so much experiences with both of us. And you went to UK for your studies, and but we still kept on the connection built on. And let's begin the episode with because I was having a lot of questions about your study after working for 5-7 years in training department or training scenarios.
Right.
You went to do something called management psychology.
Yeah.
So what is that?
So, management psychology is everything to do with corporate psychology, or how employee psychology work in a corporate setup, in a company, how their behavior works and how do you analyze it. So everything related to, be it training or be it coaching, HR, or even the psychometric assessments, organizational development, organization behavior. So it's an amalgamation of all those factors. All those psychology that goes in the organizations. So that is why it was pretty exciting for me, because I always wanted to stay in the corporates and help people somehow be better versions of themselves. So that is why this degree was the apt degree for me.
Okay. I got something out of it, and I understood that something drive you towards this. And during management psychology, I am just repeating it again and again. But what drives you to do it? Means what prompted you to leave your job and again start your education after 7 years?
Yeah. So it was not an easy choice.
Yes.
It was pretty different and a completely new territory for me, because once you have done your education and then you started working, you are in a corporate setup and a professional. And then again, getting
paychecks coming in.
Yeah, that's the most exciting part that I was missing as a student. That regularly every month I'm not getting some salary credited in my bank account. But it's always good to challenge yourself and learn new things and explore new horizons for yourself. So why I decided this, because I always wanted to, serve and cater to a global market. And for that, because I have been working in India and with Indian clients, my vision was always to explore different cultures, understand the global market, and then serve them. So that is why I chose, and this was one of the ways that I felt that I could learn a worldwide culture, because I have studied in the UK.
Okay.
So UK
Which
has
university?
That was University of Nottingham.
Okay.
So UK has a diverse culture. There are a lot of ethnicities. So what better than UK that you can think. So that is why I chose that country and the university, because it was one of the most renowned universities all over the world. So that was the main reason for starting taking a break from the career and further educating myself. And also because I had my bachelor degree, I did not have any formal education in the training industry.
Okay.
So my bachelor degree was in commerce. And I wanted to have some formal education on my profile, which looks a little bit fancy.
Yes.
So that was another reason. That was not the main reason. The main reason was to understand a different culture and how people outside India work and operate, and how I can make myself or skill myself to an extent that I'll be able to help them to be a better version themselves.
Wow. So in this, I just got your the main line that you started to challenge yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it was a challenging ride. It was not easy.
So what are the challenges you faced?
So, when you start working and then you get into the education setup, so because now your mindset, your brain is tuned into working and always creating or working on projects, one project after other, and working on the practical aspects where you're actually seeing changes happening. But then when you step into education, it's not the same at all. You again have to get into the student lifestyle altogether.
That must be exciting.
Yeah. Because college life is always exciting.
Yes.
So it had its own excitement and challenges, yes. And it was a lot of fun. It was the first time that I was not just leaving my country. I've never lived in any other city than Delhi. Okay. So it was the first time that I was changing my continent altogether. And I was leaving my parents' house.
The first time?
Yeah, it was the first time for me. Not just that, but, managing everything, because you have your luxuries when you're staying in your own house. So doing everything, all the chores on your own, and managing your daily routines and stuff, because you do not have house helps and everything outside. So that was another thing. And plus, what the course and the university and a different place gave me was a new perspective and a new way of thinking. So, people coming from different backgrounds and different cultures and different diversity, it opened my mind to an extent, because I always used to think that I have an open mind and I like listening to new ideas and I absorb them, and I am always I'm a kind of person who likes growing and learning from different people and experiences. But then when I used to interact with people of different ethnicity and different countries, I understood that, I was not as open-minded as I always thought. And it was they challenged my opinions and my thought process, and I loved it. So it's like, how even Krishnamurti, J. Krishnamurti, I follow him. So he also says that a man dies and borns every day. So what he means by his perspectives, his ideas, his opinions dies, and with the new experience and learnings, it rebirths.
Wow.
Or born again.
Great. This was powerful. I could totally relate to it because I also do a lot of podcasts, and with every podcast, something in me dies and something new born. So I can totally relate
that
to
is
it.
magical. That opens your eyes, and it's so astonishing that wow, there's so much in the world to know, and there's so much to explore.
Got it. So, Kritika, let's take it forward and this discussion, and let's discuss about if someone is just graduating and how he or she can adopt that he should work, or he should do his entrepreneur journey, or he or she should go to outside India and do some degree, and how to choose that topic, means psychology, engineering, doctorate, some guideline if you can throw in.
So if you're asking about how to choose a particular career,
Yes.
then I would say, because for me, I would say it just happened in a fluke. It was a fluke that I got into the training industry.
Great.
Because after college, after my bachelor's, I had no idea what I had to do. I graduated in commerce, so my colleagues, my course mates used to, the mainstream careers were either CA, CS, audit, or something on those lines. And that is what my peers were going into.
Something to do with numbers.
Yeah. And I have not really been a numbers person at all. I am a people person.
Wow.
So that never, I did sit for interviews, and I did get through one of them, and it was a good company. But then I just felt like that, I cannot do this because this is way too monotonous for me, and I wouldn't be happy at all. I did not even know at that moment what training was.
Okay.
I knew the word psychology, and it is as a subject, but I did not really know what work people do in it. So I was just fortunate that I got to know about one of the speaking. I just landed in one of the speaking workshops. It was a very closed workshop with just a handful of people. And I met somebody, and he was talking about, that he helps students with their careers and guide them. So I thought that, let's just talk to him. Maybe he can also tell me what path should I take. So I spoke to him, and till date, he's my mentor.
Great.
So that is how it happened. And so he introduced me to Career Guide. That was a career counseling platform. And I started working. I took certification as a career counselor. So I started my journey, my career as a career counselor. That's as ironic as it sounds. So that is how I started. I learned about all the psychometric assessments and how to counsel students, school students majorly. So I used to go from school to school on one-on-one counseling sessions and giving career talks in schools to students. And that is when I realized that I really love delivering to people.
Okay.
Talking to an audience where I'm able to help them, educate them, and interact with them, engage them. So I loved it.
Okay.
And
that was some love at first sight.
Yeah, totally. So, and prior to that, you wouldn't believe I had a huge stage fright. I just couldn't, I would stammer and sweat, and I'll tremble on stage. So at that moment, giving career talks was my first, step into the public speaking platform. And then that's how it started. And then I started organizing workshops and events for educationists, entrepreneurs, producing workshops. And
can you share that that you were just telling that it started just as a fluke? So can you share that incident?
Yeah, so this was, as I told you about my mentor, is Coach Sisodia, and he is also into training, like soft skills training and human skills training. When I told him and he saw that I have an inclination towards people, whatever to do with people. So I asked him that if he can, let me go in let me shadow his training sessions. I wanted to understand what this is. And he was more than happy to take me to his sessions. And I learned about how training works. That is how I explored that area. And again, it was like, this is something for me. I really want to do this. So I started like shadowing him and kind of working with him. And then that is how I learned the ABCs of training.
Okay.
And, just meeting him was a complete fluke. And that is how I just got landed into the training industry. And, so I started my career with Career Guide. And it was a startup. It's no more a startup. So, in startups, you just work everywhere, like left, right,
whatever comes.
Yeah. So, and I was very fortunate that the CEO, she handed me over a complete project. It was a pilot project of organizing workshops. So she handed me over that. And she's like, this is your baby. You take care of it. And I was just out of college. I was like, I do not know what to do.
I'm still a baby.
Yeah. So she handed that over to me, and then it was like I had to do from the very beginning to, understanding the market, researching the market, who needs it, who needs the career counseling certifications, and from developing the content. So I used to co-develop those content as well, to doing the marketing work, the social media marketing, generating the leads, calling them up, the business development side of it, and getting sponsors, and, engaging them, understanding the needs of those customers, and then accordingly talking to them and pitching the workshop and how it can really benefit them, and making all the, what all deliverables are there, and managing the whole setup, booking what we call the venue, and arranging everything. So that is when I learned from the very base. And that was a huge, I would say, upskilling part of my life, where I learned about what goes behind making a show or any service a hit. So that is what had happened. And the first workshop was a flop.
Okay.
Because as I told you, I was new and I did not know what to do. And that was a great learning. I was devastated when my workshop, people hardly, there were 2 or 3 registrations. I was devastated.
Oh my goodness.
And I was almost in tears when just from a day before the workshop that, it's not happening. We have to cancel this. But then my CEO, she was very kind and she's like, that's okay. That was your first time. You have learned, you have your lessons in place. So let's begin again. She was quite confident in me and I give her all the credits. So I started again, and the first workshop, it was a super hit.
Okay.
People turned up, a lot of people turned up, and they were very happy, very content with how the workshop flow was altogether and the management. And I learned about client relations as well. So that is how it happened. And then, so I organized multiple workshops into...
And how was your stint with the Flipkart?
So that actually, after, organizing multiple workshops, I was like, this is like repeatedly happening. I want something new now. And I always wanted to get into the training industry. So that is when I was just letting my CVs out everywhere, like right, left, front, back, everywhere. I was just applying to trainings. And it just happened that Flipkart was, working in Delhi. They were expanding. And I had applied to that. And I had no idea about how training happens and everything. So I had just seen with my mentor. Interview happened and I was very confident in the interview. And I was so one art of giving interview that I learned was always keep smiling, always have a sense of like a little tinge of humor, and just go with the flow, be very confident with whatever you know, and just keep smiling, keep adding the humor here and there.
Okay, and you cracked it.
Yeah. I was like, so the interview happened and it was from the head office. The HR had called, and then later, like in a couple of days, they just said, yeah, you're selected. I was like, oh, what? Really? So that happened, and they had a boot camp. So they taught me that how you have to train people. I was trained first because it was process and communication training. So I was trained in the process, the Flipkart process. It was in customer service. So that happened, and it was so eye-opening to me because I had never seen a training. I mean, I had never delivered a training, and somehow I was too nervous I always thought that I would not even qualify that boot camp, or I would pass that boot camp. So I had not even left Career Guide because I wanted a backup. But then I did qualify the certification and I was onboarded as a trainer.
Great.
And the trainees were from like all level of, employees of all level, from like the associates to manager level people. And
you are the junior most.
Yeah, I was so young. I was hardly I do not know, 21 or 22. And I was like, oh, they're all grown-ups. I'm just a tinny tot training them. But I worked really hard. I worked day and night. I was like, okay, I know that I do not know. This is my first time, but I have to be like 200% prepared for this. I have to be extra prepared. So it's not just that I did what I was told to do, but I used to come back home and I used to do all my research and work on how can I like better train them, how can I give them a better experience, a learning experience. And that is what I delivered. And once...
How was the experience of delivering with the senior people? Because they might think that she may not be able to give that full-fledged training or like that somehow. So how you handle that scenario in the training?
So... with senior people, it is always about a rapport building.
Okay.
So initially, when you start with your training, you have to, be in a position where they realize that, okay, this person has something that I can learn from, that I can learn. So once you have said that, then it becomes easier for them and as well as for me to carry forward the training sessions. So you have to be very smart and very like on the top of your work. You have to know every nitty-gritties of your work. So that is like non-negotiable.
Yeah. There's no substitute for hard work.
Yes, definitely. So you have to know your topic to the deepest level.
Okay.
And that is what I did. So once that rapport was built, the flow became easier. So that happened. And then, initially I was seeing that, the training the curriculum that was given, it was not as good. People were not really enjoying it because it was a process training and it was a communication training as well, but people were not enjoying as much. So I had I researched and I got some, games and activities around the same concepts, the same topics, so that they learn while they are enjoying. And that is how I re-innovated the curriculum, and people loved that because my batches were going off 100% certification rate. Everybody was qualifying. So the management, the in-house trainers, had a discussion with me, and they mentioned that, so I told them that this is how I've tweaked a little. I did not just told them that I've changed a lot of things, but I tweaked a little bit here and there. So they loved it, and they onboarded my whole curriculum
into
tweaking.
their system.
Yeah. So that was really something to me. That was, that was my Flipkart experience. And after that, it was a project, it was a contract. So a couple of months I worked there.
Okay.
And they asked me if you would want to get onboarded with us. And the one thing that I learned there, I did a huge blunder. That, when people are appreciating you and they're telling you that you have done so well, you're doing so good. Because there were people, my colleagues were people with 10, 12 years of experience, and we were working on the same level. And then you're getting appreciated, and you feel like, okay, this is crazy. So I was in air. I was flying. I was like, I have done something really crazy. So that is when they asked me if you would want to get onboarded, I was like, no. I don't want to get onboarded. I have gotten this. I've done so well. I would do wonders. I'll go outside. I'll do wonders. So that was something. I did not even do my research. I did not even talk to them about the compensation. I did not even think about it.
Okay.
That, why am I not continuing? What was the reason? Or at least understand what I'm valued. And I said, no, I do not want to. I'll get enough work. And I left. Okay. And that time I was jobless for a month because I had no work in hand. And that is when, the destiny had helped me to ground.
Yes.
So after a month, I had started working with a training consultancy.
Okay. But here, let me ask you this question, because it is bringing me a lot of curiosity that you are so comfortable with your failures and your challenges. So how you are so down to earth with your failures and easily sharing on a podcast and easily accepting those, and how one can also develop this attitude, or how our listeners, listeners, can develop this.
That's a good question. That's a really good question, and I have not really thought of it. And I am glad that you asked it, which will give me an opportunity to think about it. So I believe why I am pretty good with, I'm okay with the downfalls as well, and I am okay sharing my downside as well, because I feel it's always an ongoing journey. And it's a learning. And, sharing it, first of all, it's very human to try and fail and think that you can achieve anything in the world, and then understanding the reality. So because it's very human, and it's always very good to accept and be also outspoken about it, because it happens with everybody, and you cannot do anything about it. So it gives a platform to other people as well to, feel like it's okay, because
but you are saying it in a simple words, but it is actually difficult to do it.
Yeah, because, even on social media, when you say that, people are just posting their highlights. And also when people are sharing their failures, when they have reached the top of the mountain, that is when they're sharing their failures.
Yes.
So I just feel that, because I am the sort of person that I'm very open and vocal about things, that whatever happened. You cannot really do anything about it. You just need to keep constantly working.
Okay.
And so I believe it's just because of that I'm being able to share that. And, when you have an open mindset about things, when you're open to learning, and you do not feel ashamed about your failures, because it's bound to happen if you're trying enough. And, what I feel, the people who are not as comfortable sharing their failures, maybe they are kind of insecure about that they're not working good enough, or that is just my perspective. So if you keep working And if you're failing or you're winning, you have to like also share it. Oh, they have to make more things more human, I guess. It's just that I feel like I am this way, that I do not feel shy sharing even my bad or downsides.
Great. So how you are getting so much clarity in such a young age?
Oh God.
Means what is contributing to this maturity and this humanly thing? If you can think of something happened in the childhood or something, means how you have developed this attitude of humanity.
So that's interesting that you mentioned childhood.
Yeah.
So you know how we as kids always say that, you know, when they're asked that what do you want to be when you grow up. So kids are like, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a scientist and doctor and whatnot. So, you know, out of curiosity, I asked my mum that what did I used to say when somebody asked me that what do I want to be.
Wow.
So my mom said, you do not used to say anything. I was like, please give me something. I am not liking this. So she told me that you do not used to say anything.
Okay.
And you know what happens is, even as a kid, when you're saying that you want to be this and that, you're seeing that in your surroundings. And that is how you're understanding, okay, this looks very cool, or this looks very exciting, so I want to be like this, I want to do this. And for some people it's great, it works wonders that you know, they grow up and they become that.
Yes. They will get a goal.
Yeah. And I do not have a goal. And while I was growing up and once I started working, I was just exploring different things. And what gave me the maturity and the clarity was that because I was not looking at other people or what they're doing. Because if it was the case, I would have gotten, because I had also cleared CPT, that is the first level of CA, Chartered Accountant, because my family kind of, you know, pushed me into it. So I could have just continued because I did not know.
After BCom, yeah.
So, but then I did not, because I knew what I do not want to do. That was clear always to me.
Okay.
So those are the things I used to always reject, that this is something that I cannot do. And because I was not listening to the outer world and I was listening to myself and what I'm really enjoying doing, that gave me a lot of clarity on. So it was like, okay, so I was organizing events, I was talking to a lot of people. I understood that I'm a people person. Whatever job I get into, I need to be interacting to a lot of people, and I have a huge creative inclination, so I need something where I'm creating. And
I'm seeing a lot of your videos.
Yeah, so I needed creativity, I needed people, and I needed, because I am a person with a lot of hobbies. I love doing everything. So now how do you put everything together? So that is why when I thought about that, okay, this is, people is one thing, creativity is one thing, being out there in front of an audience is another thing I really liked. So when I place those things all together, that these are the things that I like doing, so what can I do? What sort of job is there is in the market that I can work on? So when you analyze yourself and you observe yourself and understand that what do you want, what do you love doing, and not look or at the shining stars and just thinking, oh, his life looks cool. Oh, that is such a
merchandising is cool.
Yeah, that you're traveling all around the world. But then you have your own, skill sets and you have your own talents that you need to work upon and develop and improve on. So that is what I was sticking to. And I was not listening to the outer world, and I was not looking at those glittering things or jobs that was outside.
this is actually very powerful that you are listening to your own self and you are not listening to the outside world, and you are not mesmerized by the glittery things.
Right, yes.
So this is actually very powerful, but it's quite difficult to inculcate, understand, and then repeat.
So, because I believe I do not know, I guess I was lucky, I would say, or that I was able to, be understand and observe myself, because I am very fortunate with the kind of parents that I have and the family that I have, and my parents have always been very supportive. So my dad has been pushing me like crazy that you want to go do whatever you want to do, but then do the best, and I am there as your pillar. So don't worry on that, just go ahead, do whatever you want to do. So that was there, and that is why I never was attracted to, because money is not really one factor that drives me. It's not.
Okay.
And that is why I was able to cut down on the things that is I don't want to do this.
Yes.
I don't want to do that.
This is one good strategy to strike out what are not your options.
Because it becomes difficult to know that, you're made for this. And I've seen a lot of people in the training industry that they have worked for crazy amount of years, and then they realize that there's something else for me. And even you have the same experience, same story. So, and it's crazy. Now you're doing absolutely wonderful and you love it, right?
Yeah.
So that is something that I realized early on. And
so lucky.
and because, I liked helping people, and then I just tried figuring out how can I do that.
Wow. So Kritika, it's been amazing discussion we are having, and we have talked about past, present. Let's discuss about future.
Yes, of course.
So what is coming next with Kritika? Yes.
The one of the challenges that comes with having done a lot of work in all the different roles, and when you are a person with multiple hobbies and somebody who likes a lot of things.
YouTube thing.
Yeah. So yes, that is one of my favorite things to do, make vlogs for social media. And I have started making vlogs for business psychology itself.
Wow.
So all my learnings, and so I'm sharing and putting it out there, whatever I've learned and whatever I'm learning even now. So what is next for me is, now I'm looking for getting my hands into coaching. Yes. And I'm building myself into getting more experience in the corporates and helping with all the knowledge that I've gained from my university. I'm trying to first work with some corporate and again get a good hands-on experience, and then I will be building things of my own. And coaching would be a big part of it.
Great. So it will be executive coaching or corporates?
Yes. So it would mostly be corporate coaching, and I am trying to somewhere, because since I told you that I'm a creative person, and I'm trying to make a mix of creativity and coaching. So I would say that as a creative coach. Because in leadership and in any job, even if it's accounting, when people think of it as not monotonous, but regular work with very less creativity. So how can a person be, or how can you can make a job creative enough that you enjoy? Because I believe every person has some sort of creativity in themselves. And working with the leaders, because that is how I touch, because I cannot work with everybody. But if I can help leaders think about how can they work, how can they inculcate creativity in themselves and their work, it will flow down. It will go to their employees. Yes. And that is how I plan to make a bigger impact around me.
From here, the creativity, let me share one small incident that because I am also working from last 17, 18 years in a corporate, and initial 10, 12 years, I was not taking part in any creative competitions.
Okay.
Slogan writing or making fill in the blanks or some cartoon or painting.
Yeah.
But 4-5 years back, I started going into the creative competitions, and
That's wonderful.
yeah, and with a belief which
Yeah.
you have just said that I'm creative.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I was going into the slogan competition and sitting there and saying out loud to me that I am creative. And then I won also slogan
Wow,
competitions.
that's amazing. Congratulations. So, that is how, because people do not get a platform, or people do not get time for exploring their creativeness.
Creative side, yeah.
And that is how they just feel that no, creativity is not really for me. So the way you're communicating with me, you're asking questions, and you're keeping the flow of everything. So that is creativity in itself.
Yes.
It's out there right now. So
Yeah. This I have worked on. Yeah.
oh yes, creativity requires work.
Yes.
It does not just happen.
Yes. So, Kritika, we are at the end of our podcast, and this is my last question, which I ask to most of my guests. And I believe that miracles do happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sitting here in a studio with you, recording this podcast is a miracle.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. If I see myself 5 years back, even 2 years back,
Yeah.
this is some sort of a miracle.
Yeah.
So my question is that what one thing which can happen in next 1 year, and you will feel that miracles do happen.
What will happen in the next 1 year?
1 year, or you want to do something
Right.
and you will feel that miracles do happen.
Oh, wow. That's a very deep question. So what will happen in the next 1 year?
1 year, 2 year means
Yeah.
that one thing which will happen, and you will feel that miracles do happen.
Okay. So I feel that, it's like if goals turn into reality, that is when I feel that miracles do happen. And one of my major goal is to start my own consultancy. And when I talk to people, when I talk to entrepreneurs and their motivation and everything, I feel like I have to work on myself so much that to be an entrepreneur, to be so high-spirited and motivated towards working. So I feel that if I would be able to, because I have an aim to do that, and I know that I would, but if I am able to work on myself to an extent that I open my own consultancy and I'm helping corporates be better, and I'm helping employers develop in a better person, be it professionally or on a personal front, I would say that miracles do happen.
Wow, that's such an amazing answer you have given, and with such a deep-rooted law of attraction desires, and
Yes.
all the best from my side. And
Thank you so much.
it will definitely happen, and we will celebrate and record podcast again after that
definitely.
miracle.
I had so much fun talking to you. I am coming again over and over.
So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was such a wonderful, and as you say, let's talk clarity. While you were asking me so many questions, there were some questions that I was thinking really deep, and there were things that I had not really answered or thought about. So it gave me also clarity about my own self.
Yeah. That's all about let's talk clarity.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Clarity with Rakesh. Please subscribe or follow this podcast on your preferred platform so that you don't miss any important episodes. Have clarity, listen clarity, and let's talk clarity.
Let's talk clarity.